You're in an argument. You know you're right. You have the logic. You have the examples. The other person keeps pushing back. And the longer it goes, the more certain you become. That certainty you feel right now, that's not reason. That's your brain protecting a decision it made before you opened your mouth. And the smarter you are, the better it does it. Here's how the argument goes. You say something, they disagree, you explain, they push back harder. And somewhere in the next 60 seconds, you stop listening to what they're saying and start building a case against it. You don't notice this switch. It doesn't feel like a switch. It feels like thinking. But it isn't. You're not evaluating their point anymore. You're dismantling it. There's a difference, and your brain deliberately hides it from you. Notice something. As the argument went on, did your position get more nuanced or more certain? If it got more certain, you were never reasoning. You were defending. Your brain runs two systems. System 1 is fast. It decided who was right in that argument in the first 4 seconds, before you heard their full point. System 2 is slow. It's what produced every reason you gave afterward. System 1 is the judge. System 2 is the lawyer. You think you're reasoning. You're writing a closing argument for a verdict that was already in. Kahneman called this motivated reasoning. Dan Kahan at Yale tested it on 1,111 people. He gave them a logic puzzle, identical math, 2 versions. One used neutral numbers. The other embedded the exact same math inside a political topic. The smarter the person, the worse they performed on the political version. Not slightly, significantly. Because a smarter brain is better at running System 2 selectively, only when the answer fits what System 1 already decided. In the argument, you weren't using your intelligence to find truth. You were using it to win. Now. Right now, watching this, you probably feel like you'd catch yourself doing it. You're self-aware. You know about bias. You just watched 2 minutes of neuroscience about it. That feeling, that specific, I'd catch it, is System 1. Running the exact same move. On you. Right now. Emily Pronin at Princeton documented this. People consistently rate themselves as less biased than average, even after being shown exactly how they were biased. Even after agreeing the bias exists. Higher intelligence, larger blind spot, not smaller. You just watched someone explain the mechanism. Your System 2 understood it perfectly. System 1 did not care. It was already working on something else. Probably deciding how right you were about the last thing you argued about. So here's the question that actually matters. In that argument, the one that came to mind at the start of this video, was there a single moment where you genuinely considered that they might be right? If the answer is no, you didn't have a conversation. You had a performance of one. That same argument is happening in every domain of your life. The job you stayed in too long, you had reasons. Good ones. Every month, new reasons. The investment you held while it dropped. You found articles that agreed with you. Somehow, you always found them. The relationship you defended to everyone, you could articulate exactly why they didn't understand. It was never the same decision. It was always the same mechanism. System 1 commits. System 2 explains. You call it thinking. And here's what Haidt found when he scanned people's brains during moral reasoning. The emotional regions fired first, every time, by several hundred milliseconds. The reasoning came after. Always. You didn't reason your way to your values. You felt them first, and then built the philosophy around what you already believed. The smarter you are, the more convincing the philosophy. Your politics, your ethics, your sense of who you are as a person. Written by System 2. Dictated by System 1. and you can't feel the difference from the inside. None of this is a flaw. A brain that second-guesses every decision under pressure gets eaten. A brain that commits fast and defends hard. Survives, leads, acts. For 200,000 years, that was the right brain to have. The problem isn't your hardware. The problem is that 200,000-year-old hardware is now navigating arguments about politics, investments, and identity. Things it was never designed for. And it's using the same moves that kept your ancestors alive. You're not irrational. You're running ancient software on a very new problem. There are two things that actually work. Not hacks. Structural overrides that bypass System 1's defense. First, before you make your next point in any argument, say the strongest version of their case, out loud. Not a weak version you can dismiss, the version they'd be proud of. If you can't do it, you haven't heard them. You've been building. This works because it forces System 2 to engage with their position before System 1 can reject it. Researchers who work with military decision teams call it steel manning. It takes about 15 seconds. It changes everything about what comes next. Second, when you notice you're getting more certain as an argument goes on, stop. Certainty that grows under pressure is not confidence. It's a tell. It means System 1 has taken over, and System 2 is now working for it, not checking it. Ask yourself, am I more certain because I heard something new, or because I've been talking longer? One of those is reasoning. The other is defending. You're in an argument. You know you're right. Maybe you are. But right now, in this moment, you genuinely cannot tell the difference between knowing you're right and being unable to consider that you're wrong. They feel identical from the inside. That's not a character flaw. That's just how a human brain works. And knowing it doesn't fix it. But the next time you feel that certainty building, and you catch it, that's the closest thing to thinking that actually is. One question. In the argument that came to mind at the start, were you right? Type yes or still not sure in the comments. Next week, why the version of you that formed before age 7 is making your decisions today. The research on this is worse than what you just watched. Subscribe.